Welcome back to the YouTube channel, everyone, and in this video series I wanted to do a bit of a Q&A and get to know you guys a little bit better. Now, I find the downside of YouTube is just me talking at you, but as this channel is built up, a lot of you have been asking a load of questions, and you know what, I'm not going to say to people hit the like, well actually I am going to say hit the like, but I'm not going to say hit the subscribe button, because this is for you, my subscribers, and my way to communicate with you, and you can ask your questions and I'll get them answered. So if you've got any business, mindset, growth, or of course property investment questions, put them in the comments below. I'll make sure to reply to as many as possible, and I'll make sure to do a deep dive video like this answering your personal questions every single month, and I'll do as many as I can. So your questions asked, my answers given. So let's jump in, and if you're not subscribed already, of course hit the subscribe button so you can start asking your questions too. So this one is from Cassie Enser. Thanks for the comment, Cassie. I'm trying to find anything about it in your videos. I'm thinking of buying a house with a normal mortgage, 20% deposit, living in it for 2 years while saving for a buy-to-let, then following up, saving enough rent rent both properties out whilst we're doing other things, and save up for another property. What are the things to look out for when changing a normal mortgage to a rental mortgage, or is there another way that it can be done? I have stocks and shares as a payment vehicle for buy-to-lets, but would intend on investing all the money I get from rentals into other properties earlier. Okay, cool, brilliant. Glad you're getting value from the rest was just saying getting value from the property video. So first of all, I just want to break down why you shouldn't maybe think about putting 20% into your residential. So mortgage money is the cheapest finance that you can get available. So I did a quick check on HSBC, they're at 1.7% right now, but just to give you an idea, let's say you choose to, on residential, you can put in 10%. It's very standard to put in 10% deposit. However, if you've got 1.7, let's round that up to 2% repayment mortgage over 25 years. If you buy a £200,000 property and you put in 20%, which is going to be 40 grand, your £160,000 mortgage repayment at 2% is going to be £678 a month. Okay, now if you put in a 10% mortgage, i.e. 20,000, so you owe 180,000, that goes up to £763 a month. Okay, so the difference on that is £85 a month. Now, I personally, and this is not financial advice, just my opinion, I personally would want to have £20,000 in my pocket and happily pay the £85 a month. That's just me. You need to make a decision if that works for you, because £85 a month is about £1,000 a year. So it's going to take 20 years for that money to diminish. So you only got 5 years more of that, at which point you probably refinance and things like that. So I'm a big believer in leveraging mortgages in the right way, and you know, because it is the cheapest finance, and then you will have that extra 10% to put towards a deposit, and more than likely the area you're buying in is going to be more expensive than your buy-to-let area. So that's just the first tip. So your actual questions are, what are the things to look at when changing a normal mortgage to a rental mortgage? Okay, so what happens is, first of all, what you need to understand is the deposit is different. So on a residential, of course, you're thinking about putting in 20%. You can normally put 10% in. On a buy-to-let mortgage, it's usually 75% loan to value. So what this means is you would have a 25% deposit. Now, if you're putting in 20% and you're living there for a while, you're probably chipping away at that anyway. Normally what happens, if you are moving out of the property but you don't want to sell it, you can go to your mortgage provider, and it's called getting consent to let. So most mortgage providers will allow you to do that without changing too much, okay? They might ask you to do a bit of top up, but it's not that common for people to go, right, you need to put in another 15%. Normally what they'll say is, look, we'll give you consent to let, so they'll send you a form saying you're signing it, and they'll give you a time limit for a few years where you can do it as a buy-to-let property. At which point, what you can do, you're going to be refinancing it anyway. You'll probably refinance on a buy-to-let. But that's the thing that you need to consider, Cassie, and it's getting consent to let on your property. And all you need to do is get in touch with your broker, if you had a broker, or your mortgage provider, and I don't know all of the lenders out there. There are a lot, but I would say 80% should do this. They'll just have a couple of conditions that you need to be aware of. And of course, remember, it's a different insurance on your property. So as soon as you get a tenant in the property, you need a different type of insurance, which is about 30 quid a year more expensive. Okay, so the next question is from Escape the Rat Race 2020. Love the name, by the way. I'm in a dilemma whether to move house to a larger, more expensive property or invest in buy-to-lets for longer term strategy to build a portfolio and have those properties for retirement. What would you suggest? Now, if you're watching my channel, you probably already know the answer. I suspect you knew my answer when you were typing this out. So I'm a massive believer in deferred gratification. So I'm going to say something that's going to come across a bit like, look at me, but I'll link it back, and I don't mean this in a braggy way. So I am a net worth multimillionaire. Okay, so what that means is, I'm not talking about property millionaire and assets. It means I have liquid capital of over £2 million. Okay, liquid. I live in a 3-bed semi-detached property. I live in a decent area, but the reason I'm sharing that is I'm not driving around in Ferraris all the time. I've got some old classics, but they're investments for me as well. Okay, so my liabilities are investments. But my car is a lease. It's a Mercedes. It's a decent car, but it's not a crazy car. I don't go on extravagant dinners, especially right now. And I don't do that. And the reason why is I'm a big believer in deferred gratification. And what that means is, say I'm earning 20 grand a year right now. If I, and this is maybe more relatable for some people, if I'm earning £20,000 right now and I spend 20,000, more than likely I might be earning 25,000 in 10 years time, maybe 25 to 30, okay? Because inflation, all of that. Whereas if I earn 20,000 and I spend 15 and I invest that £5,000, which is 400 and something a month, in about 45 years, you will be a net worth millionaire just from that. Okay, say that's all you do. You will be a net worth millionaire within 45 years of investing £400 a month. I've done a video on it showing you the math, okay? So I'm a big believer in deferred gratification. Ultimately, you need to be happy though. So I like doing things that are going to make me happy, and sometimes that does mean spending money. I'm not a massive spender. I'm a pretty shit millionaire, to be honest. But I don't need assets or these frivolous things, material items, to make me feel happiness in life. I just don't, okay? So what's going to make you happy? I don't know your name because obviously you escaped the rat race, but if moving to that bigger, more expensive property you genuinely feel is going to make you happy, then great. My assumption is it won't. You'll get that temporary feeling and then you'll just be chasing the next one, okay? So when I got my first million, it was my obsession. And when I was obsessed with making this million, it became everything. It consumed me. And then when I pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and then I got it, I was like, I've made it. I've pushed to the next level, right? And then what I realized is about 2 weeks later, I realized I was still going into work the same, and I was still getting in a similar car, and I was going in bed in the same bed, just my net worth was different. And I was happy, by the way, but I realized the money didn't make me happy. It was what I was doing and the people I was spending it with that I absolutely loved and got value with. So my assumption is the bigger, more expensive house won't end up making you as happy as you want. But even better than that, why not work out what the added liability is going to go? Because you can save up the deposit and do that. But if you work out what that liability is on a monthly basis, then go out and buy the assets to pay for that liability. So still get that house, but buy some assets that's going to pay it out. And if you've seen my assets versus liability video that I posted probably about 3 weeks ago from when this comes out, have a look at it, and it's going to show you how you can make money from your assets to pay for your liabilities. And that's just my opinion, but I think that's good financial advice, and you'll never ever be poor again. So this question is from Ali Asemani. Apologies if I've pronounced that incorrectly. Hi Jamie, do you think it's a mistake to purchase new build property for buy to let? Yes and no. It depends what you mean by that. So if you mean new build from 10 years ago, no, I don't think that's a bad idea, as long as you know there's not cracks and things. Like there's some new build providers that are absolutely useless at doing new builds, and they're very poor customer service. I'm not going to name any, but you can probably tell from the property that you're going around. So I would buy those because it's had that chance to get the dip in there, and then it's leveled out with as a level playing field to surrounding properties. And I think they're good, and people like living in new build properties. Would I buy one as it is developed? Yes and no. So no, I would not buy a new build property from an agent once it's on the open market in most locations. If it is like an incredibly desirable property in an incredibly desirable area, then yes, I might do that. Okay, so because I know there's a lot of investors that will go there, and I know the prices will go up. So in central locations, okay, mainly like the main city centres like West Central in London or centre of Leeds, centre of Manchester, I might be inclined to do that. What I'm more inclined to do is get a contact at the bigger developers, okay? And the reason for this is what the bigger developers do is they will sell off about 85 to 90% of their stock at the open market value, and then everything for them then is just pure profit. So that last 10%, they are looking to offload quickly to move on to the next site. And bear in mind, they are developing like 1,000 units or something like that, and then move into the next 1,000 or 2,000. Okay, it is pretty phenomenal. So they will move on and they will give you a heavy discount. We've had up to 30% discounts through some of our contacts. We buy some ourselves and package them on, obviously, but that is one of the only times I will really consider buying a new build property for a buy-to-let investment. So this is a question from Ernest. So how can I get people on Facebook to buy the products I'm promoting? Affiliate marketing. Okay, cool. So Ernest, this is, you'll hear me saying this and people laugh in my office, value first, okay? Honestly, value first, profit second. So I educate people. People pay me to educate them in business. People pay me to show them how to invest in property properly. I've got courses on them that you can go to. I know a lot of you have done them, which is great. But I also spend a lot of time giving away this value for free, okay? And adding a load of value in any way that I can to help you push forward. That is a value first principle. And my aim is, if I add enough value in these videos, if none of you ever buy anything from me, that's great. That's absolutely fine, as long as I've helped you. Whereas a lot of you watching will go, you know what? I'm ready to invest in my education, and it's gonna be me. If you've been watching my videos, you're gonna work with me, all right? If you like me, you're subscribed, hint, hint, stuff like that. But if you're just going out there, buy my shit, buy my shit, buy my shit, it's not a great way to do business, okay? It's not about how many people you tried to sell to. Like, you hear this phrase, always be selling, and it's kind of like the always be closing, Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross, and we have a laugh about it, but actually always be adding value, always be looking to communicate, and that's all you need to do, Ernest. It's not a quick game. You need to go out there, add value, get in conversation with people, communicate, and then give them the opportunity to buy from you. And the more you do that, build awareness around what you're doing and communicate with your customers and add value, you'll notice the orders just building up, building up, building up. But it is not get rich quick, okay? It's not get rich quick at all. You need to put in the value and have a 6 to 12 month mindset into the results starting to come in, rather than posting a link a few times over a couple of weeks and going, where is my money? Hopefully that helps, man. I love this one. Kai, is 100 to 150 property portfolio in 20-25 years a reasonable goal, or is it a way to get out of reach? Okay, I've actually answered this, but I wanted to do this in the video as well. Is it reasonable? No, that is a completely unreasonable target. But why be reasonable? Why be boring? If you're gonna have goals as audacious as financial freedom and opulence, why not make it big? Why not go out there? Because here's what happens. If you aim for 10 properties in 20 years, you might hit it. You might hit 12, 13, 14 and go, oh, you know what? Kind of wanted 10 and I'm pretty impressed with myself right now. Whereas if you go, you know what? That 100, 200 properties, and you start thinking, you can't just put that out there and think the world of attraction is going to do it for you. But instead, if you go, right, I want 150 properties, great. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to need 30 grand per property, and then obviously refinancing. So it's called a burn rate. So let's say you divide that by 2, because 75 properties of 150, I need £30,000 per property. And the reason why you do a burn rate at 50% is you're going to refinance over time to facilitate the next half. So you need 30,000 for those 75 properties, which is going to be 2.25 million pounds. Okay, you need 2.25 million. You've said 20 to 25 years. Here's what's going to happen. Those first 75 are probably going to come in the first 20 years. And the next 75 will come in the 5 years following that, okay? So you've got 20 years to build that money up. That's 100,000 a year you need to build up in cash. Are you gonna start with that? No, it's gonna be an accumulation model. So the first 5 years might get you your first 100 grand. The next 5 years might get you first 500,000. And then the next 10 years, you might be making 200,000 a year plus. Okay, yes, it's perfectly feasible to do it. Is it reasonable? Hell no, but I didn't get to where I am. I'm not going to get to where I want to get to by being reasonable. Fuck being reasonable. Be unreasonable. Put yourself out there, make it audacious, and start chipping away at it every single day. Razor72144, I'm sure that's your official name. Do I have a website for my deal packaging company? Yes, we have 2 different deal packaging companies. One of them is We Sell B&V, where we find below market value property for investors. It's mainly for people that have got the money to buy property, and they want us as specialists to find those unique opportunities all over England and Wales. But they are doing the refurbishment themselves. You can find that at wesellbnv.co.uk. We also have Aspire Property Group. So if you're watching this, you've got 100,000 to $250,000 between those figures, and you want us to find it, the right opportunities, manage the refurbishment, get it let out and manage the whole process for you. That's more of a bespoke relationship. So if you're watching this and you want that bespoke, put APG in the comments. That's APG. I'm going to reply with you with a way you can get in touch, and you'll talk to me personally or my senior investment consultant, Toyin, about those opportunities. Tom F, thinking smart here. If you purchase buy-to-let property through a limited company, can you offset it against corporation tax by buying more property? Can you save paying a tax bill till the following financial year to enable a larger amount of funds to be spent on another buy-to-let? Risky this one. Technically, yes, and you can do that. And it's actually a really tax efficient strategy, okay? Because if you're reinvesting those funds, it does build up, but they're still going to do an asset value on that property. So if you build your asset by $1 million and your liability by $500,000, then your net asset gain is going to be $500,000, and there will be tax to pay with that eventually when you exit it. So yes, you can delay tax, you cannot not pay it. Okay, so you can carry on pushing it back, and the great thing for that is you've got the time investment of that money to get it working for you as much as possible, which is really brilliant. But you are going to have to pay a big ass tax bill down the line. But I am not a financial advisor. You need to talk to a good tax strategist to make that work for you. So guys, I hope that's been valuable. If you've got any questions at all around property investment, growth, mindset, anything at all, let me know in the comments. If you're interested in finding out more about the programs, just put a comment below. And if you're interested in We Sell B&V, you could go to the website. Interested in a bespoke sourcing service, put APG below. But I hope this adds value, and I really just want to give back to my subscribers. You're giving me your time, and I really appreciate that. I hope this is a way to communicate with you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And ask any questions and I will answer them to the best of my ability. See you in the next video.